How do you get experienced accountants in if we fire all the entry-level accountants and attorneys? And I'd be interested that we keep pursuing that answer too.
A United States senator asked that out loud in a hearing room on the 29th of July, 2026. Nobody at the table had an answer for him.
The Subcommittee on Employment and Workforce Safety, Workplace Safety will come to order.
Thank you, Chairman Banks, and thank you for holding this hearing. I want to thank our panel for making the time to be here and to provide testimony.
This was a subcommittee of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. 5 witnesses, both parties.
According to Goldman Sachs, AI will drive $7 trillion of worldwide investment and economic activity over the next decade.
The chairman opened with somebody else's number.
It can also disrupt how the workforce and the workplace is organized and create a whole lot of anxiety. There's no shortage of doom and gloom predictions about mass displacement of workers. We have to take that seriously, but we haven't seen it begin to happen yet. Based on all the—
Start with what the chairman ruled out. He did not say the machines were taking every job. He said the opposite.
All the evidence, 3 things seem to be happening so far. First, hiring of entry-level workers is somewhat weaker. Second, AI is transforming tasks rather than replacing jobs. And third, the skills that employers need and how workers learn those skills is rapidly changing. Even in the most AI-exposed occupations, we haven't seen much change in employment.
Then he listed what the evidence did show. 3 things. The first one is why this film exists.
Reallocate their time is changing. In some occupations, things like data entry and simple coding are already mostly automated. But checking AI output—
He was specific about which work had already gone. Both examples are jobs people start in.
Finally, when we consider how workers acquire and use skills, we have to think about employment pipelines. A lot of workforce training happens on the job. Entry-level workers aren't just hired to do their jobs, they're hired to gain experience and grow into more advanced jobs. Every master craftsman was once an apprentice.
An entry-level job is not only a job, it is the machine by which a person becomes someone who can do the harder job.
Now, as interns, the real challenge is for graduates and young workers to acquire the skills they need to enter the workforce and get on the first rung of their career ladders. If those opportunities dry up, then some of our young workers can't access them. It will be a big—
And here is the phrase. It comes back 5 more times this afternoon from 3 more people, none of them quoting him.
And to summarize, the evidence doesn't yet show broad job loss. Our data systems can't fully see what's happening, and independent is not that AI is irrelevant. It is that the picture is still mixed, and to the extent employment effects exist so far, they look like a slower hiring pipeline for younger workers, not layoffs. This brings me to my second main—
The economist on the panel put a boundary around all of it. The broad losses have not shown up. She also said the data cannot yet see clearly.
Story of mass displacement. The clearest evidence of potential concern is concentrated among young workers entering highly exposed occupations. Recent research finds employment declining for young workers in the most AI-exposed fields, without a matching rise in unemployment, a pattern more consistent with slower hiring than with layoffs. This can be as employment outcomes have also weakened among young workers with little AI exposure at all, including teenagers working mostly in food service and retail.
But she was precise about where the concern does sit. It sits on one group.
Story first. Because technology has never been America's competitive advantage by itself, our workforce has. The goal isn't to replace nurses. We need more nurses, very clearly. It's to give them more time with patients and less time in front of a computer. This is AI augmenting workers, not replacing them.
The witness from Indiana runs a workforce board. In the work he sees, the machine gives people their time back.
Second, I believe the greatest long-term workforce risk is not widespread unemployment. It's the disruption of career pathways that workers—
Then he named what he is actually afraid of. It is not what the headlines are afraid of.
Every experienced professional was once an entry-level employee. Today's junior software developer becomes tomorrow's senior engineer. Today's apprentice becomes tomorrow's master tradesperson.
Every senior person in every trade and every profession arrived by the same route. There is no other route.
We don't simply lose entry-level jobs. We weaken the talent pipeline employers depend upon to develop tomorrow's workforce.
This is the warning. Not that the work disappears, that the way in disappears, and the country stops manufacturing experienced people.
We analyzed 130 million job transitions over 10 years and found 3 kinds of jobs: entry-level origin jobs, higher wage destination jobs, and in between, the stepping stones we call gateway jobs.
One witness had measured the pathways directly. 130 million job moves over 10 years.
Individuals automate these tasks and do jobs that they never could before. But again, we have to be careful that we're not fully automating people out of the first rung of this career ladder and then wonder why workers can't reach the second. So again, I think Congress can help by...
He put the whole problem in one sentence. It is the second time this afternoon somebody reached for the same ladder.
Projects declining demand for all 5. That cuts both ways. A cashier or receptionist loses the next rung up, and employers may find fewer experienced workers ready to move up into management or senior roles. The second is less obvious, and it may matter of getting work done, not the objective. A company that automates the demanding parts of jobs may see short-term efficiency gains while inadvertently dismantling the pipeline that produces its own future supervisors and managers. Displacement debates miss this.
And he named the mechanism, not malice, efficiency, taken 1 quarter at a time.
For instance, if AI replaces all entry-level programmer jobs, how will those displaced human beings be ready for mid-level positions? And
A quick question for the chairman and ranking member to contemplate is, they tell me we're going to lose a lot of entry-level positions, accounting.
2 more senators, 2 more trades, the same question, software, accounting, law.
They're asking for from you, what do they need?
Yeah, more often than not, we're hearing that they need entry-level employees having some type of experience to start, being job ready. Truly with some of those job ready skills you'd expect. A lot of us learn them in our first job, right? You learn how to be on time. You learned how to use good judgment. You learn to listen to a supervisor and to work as a team. All of those types of things are the things I hear the most that they feel like is missing as people are coming out of school and going into work. And so now with...
A senator asked the workforce board what employers are actually asking for now. The answer is a closed loop.
One of the things that I have been really grappling with as I've been listening to you is kind of Mr. Clark's statement at the beginning of the worry of knocking out the first jobs on the ladder so that people can't learn what they need to climb the ladder. And it does match up a little bit with some recent employment data suggesting that the unemployment rate among young adults is ticking up while others are ticking.
By this point, the senators were saying it back to the witnesses.
College, and the New York Fed just did a study that was interesting. They did not yet find that AI was a big generator of that, although this issue of knocking out the first rung on the ladder would make us want to watch that trend. But what they found actually was remote work was...
Third time, a senator from Virginia reading a Federal Reserve study reached for the same ladder as the chairman and the researcher.
But I don't know, I've got a minute and a half left. Does anybody want to just offer a thought about how we should try to focus on the needs of young people so that this squeeze of whether it's remote work or the first rung of the ladder disappearing, we're not losing a generator, depressing the hopes of young people that they're going to have meaningful careers. Ms. Rogers, you were wanting to jump right in.
That we need to consider is one of the things happening is in terms of demographic trends, we are having fewer proportionally young people moving up. In some ways, AI...
With 90 seconds left, he stopped asking about technology and asked about the generation.
And I was thinking today, I was talking to a lawyer back in Denver, a guy named Ayers, and he was looking at, he thinks that there's going to be a real issue on, what happens with, you're not going to have enough, that first rung lawyers. How are they going to get the training to be professional lawyers? Obviously, lawyers are always, they provide judgment that I think AI is going to have it's going to take a long time to displace, that sense of trust. But those young lawyers, you're not going to get as many.
The ranking member had been thinking about a lawyer he knows in Denver, worrying about exactly the same rung.
Would prefer to hire folks that they don't need to mentor because they've already gained the skills through mentoring. So if you're going to do a remote work thing, well, I need to really mentor that first-time worker, but others who've done it already, I don't need to mentor. And it turns out that that is hurt young. So I'm very worried about this youth effect. Nothing would be worse, to have a society where young people, especially starting off their careers, are unemployed or underemployed. So we have to.
Then he said the plainest thing anyone said all afternoon.
I was thinking, what is an area of work where the young people will never be pushed aside by AI? And I thought the military. We're never just going to say we only need sergeants. We don't need privates anymore, right? We will continue to get trained in that MOS. And I know the different branches of the military are trying to incorporate AI into that training. And so a system-wide study of the way the military is using AI for that very entry level, that 18-year-old, to advance in their skill set, and will probably work.
And he reached for the one institution that could never make this mistake because its whole structure forbids it.
Preparing workers for an AI economy means preserving career-connected learning, internships, apprenticeships, other pathways that develop judgment, communication, human skills that AI cannot replace. For AI begins with understanding how it is changing work. Better labor market intelligence, forecasting, and workforce data will help communities prepare workers before disruption becomes displacement. And I'll close with this. America has never succeeded by fearing technological.
They were not asked to predict the end of work. They were asked what to protect. All of them answered the same way. The first rung, the part of the ladder that turns a young person into someone who can do the job. They warned us all, on the record, on the 29th of July.